Lowe's has all the supplies you need to get your home spring ready, inside and out. Shop Ego, the #1 rated brand in cordless outdoor power. Plus, renew for the season with select cleaning essentials for under $10. Our best lineup is here at Lowe's. Lowe's, we help, you save. While supplies last, selection varies by location.
Visit your nearby Lowe's on East Arquez Avenue in Sunnyvale.
Forget the pressure to overhaul your life. The new year doesn't need a new you. It needs you. Grow Therapy helps you make meaningful change at your pace and on your time. Grow connects you with thousands of independent licensed therapists across the U.S., offering both virtual and in-person sessions, nights and weekends. There are no subscriptions, no long-term commitments. You just pay per session. Grow accepts over 100 insurance plans, including Medicaid in some states. Sessions average about $21 with insurance, and some pay as little as $0, depending on their plan. Visit growtherapy.com/try now today to get started. That's growtherapy.com/try now. Availability and coverage vary by state and insurance plan.
95.3 WBCK now presents Coach's Corner, live from Lakeview Ford. For over 6 decades, this has been your #1 source for all local sports information. Coach's Corner is proudly presented by Lakeview Ford, where community matters. Now, here's your host, Bill Broderick.
This is Bill Broderick, sports editor of the Battle Creek Enquirer, in the big chair once again on WBCK for another week of Coach's Corner, coming to you live from downtown Battle Creek Ford on the Motor Mile. For more than 60 years, Coach's Corner has been talking to the city high school coaches about the week in sports. We will be talking to each of the city hoop coaches about the week in hoops. Before we continue, here's the Lakeview Ford Coach's Corner scoreboard. There are games almost every day of the week this week as city teams continue to try to make up games after a hard winter. On Monday, St. Phil played the first of 3 games this week as the Tigers beat Burr Oak 79-53. On Tuesday, Penfield defeated Coldwater to remain in first place in the I-8, winning that game 60-57. Portage Northern beat Lakeview 80-42, and Portage Central beat Battle Creek Central 66-50. On Wednesday, a couple of games got snuck in there again. Harbor Creek lost to Eaton Rapids 51-48. Lakeview lost to Lloyd Norks 88-49. And St. Phil rolled past Athens 69-33. On Thursday, Harbor Creek was on a back-to-back. They were back in action, and they defeated Grand Ledge with a shot in the final 10 seconds to win 57-56. Last night in our game of the week, Penfield clinched a share of the Interstate 8 Conference title for a second straight year, beating Hastings 48-46. Also on Friday in the city, Lakeview lost to Manawan. Battle Creek Central fell to Kalamazoo Central. And St. Phil earned its 3rd win of the week and 2nd win over Burr Oak in a matter of days, coming away with a victory over the Bobcats. We will be back with our first coach after this commercial. This is Coach's Corner on WBCK 95.3 FM.
Coach. Lowe's has all the supplies you need to get your home spring ready, inside and out. Shop Ego, the #1 rated brand in cordless outdoor power. Plus, renew for the season with select cleaning essentials for under $10. Our best lineup is here at Lowe's. Lowe's, we help, you save. While supplies last, selection varies by location.
Visit your nearby Lowe's on East Arquez Avenue in Sunnyvale.
BCK, brought to you by Lakeview Ford, where community matters. Now back to the show.
This is Bill Broderick, sports editor of the Battle Creek Enquirer, back here with our first coach of the morning, Coach Robbie Hetton of the Penfield Panthers. Good morning, Coach.
Hey, good morning, Bill.
Usually we talk about our games in order for the week, but we don't want to bury the lead, so we're going to talk about last night's fun that Penfield had at home. Penfield was able to clinch its Interstate 8 Conference title, clinch a share of that for the 2nd year in a row, beating Hastings 48-46. and you grabbed the ladder and grabbed the scissors and you cut down the nets. How much fun was that for you and the boys?
Yeah, absolutely. It was a great time. Coach Merlington even had a surprise with some T-shirts, and that was a cool thing. But it was just a really cool experience to be able to do that at home. Winter Carnival night was already a big crowd for that. And then, just seeing a lot of people stick around after the game to watch the boys cut down the net is such a cool experience. Once you clinch a share, you earn that right to cut down a net. And then, hopefully it's just the first one we're cutting down, and hopefully we can cut down a couple more.
Yeah, going forward, you have another home game on Tuesday. If you win that game, you win the title outright. Right now, you have the share of the title with one league game left and one game up in the standings on the second-place Marshall. Wrapping your head around the journey you guys have been around. 2 years ago, Penfield was in last place in the conference, and then last year you guys climbed all the way to the top and shared the title with Marshall and Harper Creek, and this year you ran it back and won it again, and I know that was the big goal coming into the season, and it seems like the boys embraced that. Yeah,
absolutely, Bill. When I got here, I said, listen, I'm coming. I just want to win. We put a lot of work in. We've had 2 great off seasons. We've been able to really, really hone in on some of the things about basketball that is unique. Just the mindset you got to have, because it's such a grueling season, and keeping our guys fresh. Getting them to understand time, score, situation, and a lot of the games, and just getting their mind right. Their minds right. Sorry. And I think that's a big part of it, but also, these kids want it. A lot of the times coaches can come in and say, this is what we're going to do. And if the kids don't buy in and they don't have the same goal, then, it's just talk. But our kids really bought in. That's what they wanted. I let them set their own goals. I don't set their goals. They set them. It's great to see them, start to get rewarded for their hard work.
And the fact that you made a little history last night also, it's awful nice to see. It's the first time Penfield has won back-to-back conference championships since joining the Interstate 8 Conference, and it's been a little while, even longer than that, going back to KVA days. So Penfield winning back-to-back, making some history. Do you think the boys kind of understand that a little bit, or do you think that's going to come a little bit later?
Yeah, I think that'll come a little bit later. I mean, obviously they're probably talking about it. They know it, but, it's going to set in a while. Right now, I think they're just living in the moment. They all have, our team really gets along really well. So, they're just celebrating with each other, probably playing video games today. They play Madden against each other all the time. So I hear about it every day in practice, who's winning and who's not. So that's probably what they're doing today. And, hopefully just resting up, because, we got some very important games coming up, obviously starting with Tuesday with Northwest, so we can hopefully win this league outright. And then we got to get ready for districts.
Well, hopefully they're wearing those back-to-back T-shirts when they're playing those Madden games, so they haven't quite forgot what happened last night. But getting that victory last night wasn't an easy thing. Hastings came in, and they were looking to play spoiler. Hastings only had 2 league wins coming in, but they gave you guys everything you can handle. They had a lead at halftime and led throughout much of the third quarter also. Calvin Paysons hit a triple in the last seconds of the third quarter to finally take a lead, 33-32. And that was the start of a 10-0 run that you guys eventually were up 40-32 with 3 minutes left. And then things got a little hairy. Hastings decided to play a little hack-a-shack on you guys and foul you and send you to the free throw line. And that's been a little struggle for Penfield the last couple of weeks. And that allowed Hastings to get back in the game. You guys went 10 for 22 from the line the last 2.5 minutes, and they got it all the way down to 3 points. But Drayshawn Bailey and Calvin Paysons hit a couple of key free throws in the last 10 seconds to hold them off. And I know that was a concern for you guys, but you called it a gritty win last night, and that's what it was, some perseverance from you guys. Is that right?
Yeah, absolutely. I think we came out a little flat. I thought let me back up. We didn't come out flat. I thought, we got 11-11. We started playing pretty well. And then we got out of our game a little bit, Johnny missed a couple free throws, and and then we stopped going inside, and and we just got to get over that mindset of, hey, listen, if we're going to be at the line, we're either going to make them or we're going to miss them. It's not the end of the game, but we've got to keep doing what we do well, and that's feed the ball into Johnny Lake. And once we go inside, that opens up everything else. Later in the game, Drayshawn Bailey hit a couple threes, and it's because we feed the ball inside. His guy doubled down. Johnny kicks it out. Dre gets a wide open three. Now, if we're not feeding the ball inside, we're not getting open shots from anybody else. So, I told Brady and Dre last night. I told them, said, listen, boys, you guys have the easiest job in the I-8. Get the ball to Johnny. Johnny will find you. Same thing with Calvin and Peyton. Johnny does a great job of drawing so much attention that he finds his teammates. Calvin hit a great three last night in the corner at the end of the third quarter. Johnny kicked to Peyton. Peyton drove. They doubled down. They left Calvin wide open. Peyton found the guy. And I remember telling them during the timeout, I said, guys, basketball is an easy game when you play it the right way. You make the extra pass. You find your open teammate. And then obviously at the end of the game, they employed their hack-a-shack theory, and honestly, we're starting to expect it. We were talking in our coaches' meetings, and I told them, I said, if teams were smart, they would start doing that us early. We're not shooting it well at the free throw line, and I feel for our kids because they're working at it. We shoot probably 20 to 30 minutes of free throws every single day. We do it tired, we do it fresh, we do it situationally, we put pressure on them, and we're putting them through it. And it's just not right now. We're just in a little slump at the free throw line, and it's part of basketball. So hopefully it'll come back, and when we do that, we'll be all right.
Johnny Lake ended up leading you guys with 13 points, 12 rebounds. Calvin Payson's had 11 points, 4 assists, 4 rebounds. And Drayshawn Bailey had 9 points, including a couple of crucial three-pointers that you mentioned. And Peyton Rillington got on the boards with 10 rebounds and 4 assists. And that win takes you to 16-4 and sets up that game on Tuesday at home against Jackson Northwest to clinch it or clinch the outright title. But going back earlier in the week to set all this up, you guys needed a big win on Tuesday to beat Coldwater 60-57, or else all of Friday night wouldn't have happened. And that was a gutty win also for you guys in terms of a tough place to play down in Coldwater, and you guys came away with a victory. And talk about how that game kind of went for you.
Yeah, Coldwater's a tough team. They're extremely well coached. Their kids play hard, and it was back and back the whole game, and then. Again, we got up in the fourth quarter. We were up 12 points and couldn't make free throws and allowed them to come back, and they hit some shots. And I will say at the end of the game, though, we were clutch with our free throws. Freshman Wes Hensel came in and knocked down 4, and Carter Bammer knocked down 2 big ones to keep the hack-a-shack philosophy not as effective, if that makes sense. But, we just got to keep grinding, and we're getting everybody's best. Everybody sees Penfield, and, we're first place. And if they knock us off, it's a big deal. I'm still waiting. I mean, Charlotte stormed the court when they beat us. And, if teams beat us, it's a big deal. And, it just, we're embracing that a little bit. But we also have to understand, mentality-wise, we're going to get everybody's best every time we step on the court. Especially right now, end of the year. I mean, Northwest doesn't want us to win this thing outright, so they're going to come ready to battle. And and then we got Berry and Springs Friday. But yeah, going back to the Coldwater game, playing without Calvin, we had a lot of kids play bigger minutes this year than they normally play, and they stepped up. And that's part of what we talked about going into that game is, hey, Johnny's a little banged up, Calvin's not with us today. Who's going to step up? It's business as usual. We're here to get a win. And again, we showed some resilience and some grit at the end to be able to hold on to that one.
Yeah, Calvin wasn't playing because he was ejected from that game that you played last Saturday, that showcase game you played with St. Phil, and he had to sit out the game against Tuesday against Coldwater. And then Johnny Lake was banged up. He had a broken nose from that Saturday game against St. Phil, and he had to wear a mask and had to get used to that. And So banged up and shorthanded, you guys still came away with a win. Johnny Lake had 23 points, 14 rebounds, and 4 blocks. Peyton Merlington came up big for you for 15 points and 5 rebounds. And Drayshawn Bailey continues to produce 7 points and 5 assists. And real quickly before we let you go, how is Johnny getting used to that big mask? He looks like a little bit like Rip Hamilton from all the Pistons fans. Remember that? That's a little bit hard to get used to. Is that right?
Yeah, the thing gets hot. He gets sweaty in it, and he's, constantly wanting to use that towel to dry off his face, and he's getting used to it. It's for his protection. And, against cold water, I think he was a little hesitant at first to go down and bang with the guys. And, he just he's getting used to it. And, I think it's starting to become a non-issue. But, obviously those things get hot. They get sweaty.
Well, we'll look forward to Penfield playing on Tuesday night. Chance to clinch the outright title against Jackson Northwest at home. And we'll look forward to chatting with you again next Saturday, Coach.
Thanks, Bill.
Well, that's it for Coach Hatton, and we'll be back with our next Coach of the Morning after this break on WBCK 95.3 FM.
Very. 95.3 WBCK. Proudly brought to you by Lakeview Ford, where community matters. Here's Coach's Corner.
This is Bill Broderick from the Battle Creek Enquirer back here on Coach's Corner, here with our next Coach of the Morning, Coach Matt Bowling of the Harbor Creek Beavers. Good morning, Coach.
Good morning, Bill. Good to see you.
Harbor Creek had a little unusual week this week. We had they didn't play on the traditional Tuesday or Friday. We had to play a Wednesday, Thursday route against a couple non-conference opponents. A lot of that has to do with what we talked about last week, a little official shortage going around in the county and the region. But you guys got your games in on Wednesday and Thursday, and started with Eaton Rapids on Wednesday and played them tough and came up a little short, 51-48. And talk us through the start of that game.
We started out offensively pretty well, but we just did not guard or have the energy that we probably should have on Wednesday. They came in winless, and my post game or Thursday when I talked to the kids about the game, just put a kind of end to it. Eaton Rapids hadn't won, and we didn't really discuss that. We didn't talk about the record. Thought I knew what we needed, and apparently I didn't have the kids ready to play, and I take responsibility for that. We were a little flat, and I just didn't push the right buttons, hit the right levers heading into the game to get us ready and playing with enough fire to get us going. And like I said, I probably should have addressed the fact that they hadn't won. But I was afraid if we talked about that, we would, the human element with this week of you say why you play the game. That's why you play the game. We came up a little short, and we didn't play with enough intensity till it was too late in about the fourth quarter, and ran back and had it down to one here or there, and just couldn't get over that hump. But Wednesday was just kind of a tough one for us. Dylan shot the ball well.
That's a scary thing, though. You're playing a team that hasn't won.
Yeah.
They have nothing to lose, and they're hungry. They don't want to end the season without a win, and they only have 2 weeks left to get that done. So they probably saw something that's a potential there for you.
Yeah, I think that was a lot of it. Like you said, they came in hungry and scrappy, and they played well. They shot the ball well with some catch-and-shoot situations, and we didn't guard that as well as we probably should have. And I was concerned because it was a back-to-back, and I thought that would be the front end of the back-to-back would be what you expect to play your best basketball in. And fortunately for us, it was just the opposite.
Dylan Eversole found a shooting touch. He had 19 points to lead the Beavers, and Logan Converse had 10. And that had to be good to see. You need some contributions from those guys if you want to move forward, right?
It was good to see Dylan shoot the ball. He's been shooting the ball well lately, and it was nice to see Logan get to double digits and get feeling good about things too offensively. Kind of he's been capable for us all year, and to see some production was positive.
You had the back-to-back situation, so you came right back there and played Thursday, and it was senior night for the Beavers, and brought in a big Grand Ledge team, another non-conference opponent for you. And when they got off the bus, that probably scared you guys a little bit, maybe, or could have.
I tell you, they had some size. Mm-hmm. They had some size. They went 6'9", 6'5", 6'5" to start, and that was impressive size. But I'm going to tell you what, I'll credit all of our bigs. I mean, Cam Converse, Logan Converse, Colton Matisse, Trenton Ray, and Brock Krasinski all took some time and defended very well. And Cam and Colton did a heck of a job on their 6'9" kid and kind of nullified him quite a bit for most of the evening. And I was very proud of how we played. It was, Maddox controlled the game from start to finish, as handling the ball and making decisions. And we had 3-4 guys in double figures, and Keeson Trevino stepped up and made a nice running layup at the end in a pressure situation. He didn't back down. So it was great. A lot of the pieces came together and showed what we could be. And it was like an old school smack game with the physicality, and each possession was tight. The lead went back and forth several times. So I was just really proud of all of our guys, and especially proud of our seniors. What a way to go out for them on that senior night. Very memorable. It will be for me anyway.
57-56 win, and you mentioned Keeson Trevino, one of your young guys who spent time on the JV early in the year, but
well, he's fifth quartered. He's been with us all year.
But we just want to make sure. For you, right?
Yeah, he has been, and there was a good chunk of that game too where we had all three sophomores on the floor. Gavin Chapman played well too for us defensively. Very physical game, and he got to use his physicality defending the ball, and it was just like I said, great performance by all of our guys.
And Keeson hit that layup with 9 seconds left to give you the lead. Go ahead. And Maddox McCarty had 24 points for Harper Creek. Trevino at 15, and Dylan Eversole at 11. And that's kind of win that can kind of give you some momentum. It's a non-conference win. It was on a Thursday night, but a senior night, a good memory for all those guys, and something they can maybe hold on to going into the last week of the regular season.
Absolutely. I hope that this can give us some momentum and something to hold on to learn some valuable lessons this week that we have to show up and perform like that. But when we lock in mentally and follow some scouting report stuff, this is what we're capable of when we play. And I thought we played as well as we had all year.
And you said it was back and forth in the second half. Did you guys ever get down a little bit where you guys kind of had to dig deep and call it back, or were you in a hoop most of the time? Or?
Oh, it was a nip and tuck game back and forth. I think we might have got down maybe at the most in the second half with maybe 2 possessions, but it was just a well-played, fought game for us, especially on the defensive end. And like I said, and then Maddox made some great decisions, and Dylan shot the ball very well in the first half and made some plays for us in the second half. And he played that was the best defense I've seen Dylan play. So I was very proud of that. That's a good response. The overall response from Wednesday to Thursday just talked a lot about our team's character. So very proud of them for that.
And those are the kind of games that you might find yourself in, and when districts come in a couple of weeks, and winning those kind of games lets those guys know that it's possible. So you have to kind of see it to believe it sometimes. Right?
Yeah, absolutely. That was well said, Bill.
So what do we got going for you next week? I know we have some, but you guys have been caught up on most of your makeups or haven't had any makeups. So what do we got going next week?
We're going with what's as scheduled. So Tuesday we're on the road at Western, and then we finish up Friday at Marshall.
Yeah, Marshall has a big doings going on for that Friday night game. They're going to celebrate the state championship for the girls basketball team at Marshall there, an anniversary of sorts for them, and there'll be a big crowd for Marshall as usual when Harper Creek comes in, so that'll be exciting for all the basketball fans around here, but a big week for the Beavers to play a couple league games heading into districts. And what do you think you want to get accomplished there in that final week?
Well, I'd really like to keep some momentum going and just keep playing well and see where the chips fall if we can play well this week in both games, and both offensively and defensively, and limit our mistakes, and then hopefully play. We'll see where that takes us and be playing our best basketball heading into the last week.
All right, well, we'll talk about next week when we get there, and look ahead to districts next Saturday when we all get together again on Coach's Corner. I appreciate you coming back, Coach.
Sounds good. Thank you, Bill.
We'll be back for our next Coach in the Morning after this on WBCK 95.3 FM.
Hi.
Lowe's has all the supplies you need to get your home spring ready, inside and out. Shop Ego, the #1 rated brand in cordless outdoor power. Plus, renew for the season with select cleaning essentials for under $10. Our best lineup is here at Lowe's. Lowe's, we help, you save. While supplies last, selection varies by location.
Visit your nearby Lowe's on East Ark Avenue in Sunnyvale.
Coach's Corner on WBCK, brought to you by Lakeview Ford, where community matters. Now back to the show.
This is Bill Broderick, sports editor of the Battle Creek Enquirer, back here with our next coach of the morning. We got Coach Kimber of the St. Phil Fighting Tigers. Good morning, Coach.
Good morning, Bill.
Busy week for the St. Phil Fighting Tigers. You guys end up playing 4 games in a matter of 6 days, going back to Saturday of last week. Any rest for the weary there for you guys? Yeah.
I mean, it feels like our rest days are practice days because we're also been dealing with a lot of illnesses in the school, and so we haven't had a full team at practice. So it's like, all right, a lot of shooting in practice, and I mean, you can't go 5-on-5 when you only got 4 guys.
Yeah, well, you guys got some action in this week. It started last Saturday, and you played that added game against Penfield in a little showcase game on a Saturday afternoon, which was a lot of fun for a lot of people in that game. Jackson Diswick passed the St. Phil career scoring record, and that was a fun night for the Tigers to celebrate that. And then rolled right into Monday and played Burr Oak and came away with a 79-53 win over Burr Oak. And talk about playing right away on Monday and starting off this big week against a Burr Oak team that you knew you were going to see twice in 1 week.
Yeah, no, I mean, having played Penfield on Saturday and then not having practice on Sunday and having to go play Monday at Burr Oak, I mean, their NPR ranking when we played them, I think it was like a .59. And so, I mean, by the metrics, they were a good team. So, I mean, having to play back-to-back tough games was tough, but I thought our kids answered the bell pretty well. I mean, we started the game off a little bit slow defensively. The offense was dynamite, pretty much as it's been all week. It was an offensive outing. But, you know, that was tough sledding. Couldn't make any real adjustments from Saturday into Monday without a practice. But kids answered the bell. They played extremely well after the first quarter. And I thought we played one of our better second halves offensively in that second half.
Jackson Diswick had 21 points for you. Lincoln Diswick had 20, and Carter had 15. And you got some key points off the bench from Michael, or maybe not off the bench. Michael Miller had 8 points for you there. Mm-hmm. And playing a Burr Oak team that came in with 12 wins, so that improved you guys to 10-6, and then you had to roll right out there, and you played a Wednesday right away again, and played Athens. Talk us through what was happening in that game for you there.
Yeah, no, Athens. I mean, I thought we once again, I didn't think it was one of our better outings on either side of the floor, but we made a lot of shots that night. And you know, we pushed the tempo on them, and that's one of the teams that we might have more bodies than they have, and so we just kind of outlasted them. But offensively, it was a great night. We were able to push the tempo, and that's how we like to play. We like to play fast, and I think we finished that one with 69-33 final.
Yeah, St. Phil wins 69-33.
So many games this week. Keeping track of scores is tough.
Well, that's a different. You know, I saw you guys play Athens the first time around, and the first time around that game was played within single digits for most of that game. Yeah. But this time around, playing at home, you guys got out big on them. So something must have been working there. You said it was kind of disjointed, but when you guys got your groove going, you had to feel pretty good about things at that point.
Yeah, it did. I mean, they played us really tough down at their place. We made some defensive adjustments because down at their place we let up too many back cuts. I mean, I think you probably even remember that one. Right. We let up too many back cuts down
like
at their place.
Like you were playing Princeton in that game.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, but. No, we cleaned up the back cuts. They didn't get many back cuts on us. I mean, I don't think they scored off a single back cut. So that was a good sign. You know, we could make the adjustment on the fly and prevent that. They didn't shoot the ball tremendously well, but still, you know, I thought we did our job. We executed, and you know, we did the positive things leading into the postseason here coming up.
Carter Diswick led you that night with 22. Lincoln Diswick had 18, and Jackson had 12, and Silas Hall had 7 points, and Joseph Kinney had 6 points for Athens off the bench. So that was good to see for them and getting some playing time. And then you come right back again, and you're playing a Burr Oak team, which you just saw a couple of days earlier. And that has to be challenging. A Burr Oak team that's not a pushover,
No.
And you had to play them twice in a matter of days, and they saw you, and you saw them. And so what was the scouting report when you're talking about playing a team so close together?
So, I mean, our scouting report was pretty much we know who shot the ball well on Monday. Let's plan on stopping him, and then we'll go off of our past scouting report on the rest of the guys. I mean, they had a great night out of their number 22. I think his last name is Boyles or whatever. But he had a great first half, 15 points. He finished the game with 15 points. We did a tremendous job making adjustments at halftime and locking him down. But it was it was weird. I mean, we played him on Monday, and they had a kid make 9 threes on us, and so obviously we were keying on him last night. I think that kid scored 3 points, and it was with like a minute to go. But this other kid scored 15 in the first half, and we were like, okay, well, I mean, we had that on our scouting report going into Monday, but now he's playing well on Friday. So
right.
But yeah, that was difficult. Felt like an NBA schedule this week. Having a little home and home with Burr Oak in a week. But no, I thought the kids did a tremendous job. I actually think that was probably Lincoln District's one of his best halves of basketball in the second half he's had all of his career, so that was a very great sign. So he played tremendous. Kid who also is playing great for us right now. It doesn't go noted because he doesn't score a ton, but is Gio Lugo, the freshman. He's really stepped up. We moved him in the starting lineup a little bit after Christmas break because he had been making some great strides in practice on the defensive end. We knew he's got a little bit on the offensive end, but on the defensive end he had been a little bit behind, but he had been making these strides, and now he's starting to get a little bit more comfortable playing at the varsity level. He's getting a little confidence up. He's walking around with a little bit of swagger now. So he's doing a phenomenal job, and our other freshmen are they're doing tremendous. We were shorthanded this week with illnesses, specifically in that freshman class, but I think our young guys are starting to make their jump to the next level, and so it's exciting to see. You can see all the progress they've made throughout the season.
You guys won that game 75-49, and like I said, Jackson District at 26, but Lincoln at 24, and Carter District at 17. But that's what you want to see. Those freshmen, in game 18, they're not really freshmen anymore, but you need some of that play for the things that you want to get accomplished going forward. You want to make and run the districts, and you're going to need some depth to be able to do that. And so that's important for you guys, and it had to be good to see. So what's coming up next week for the St. Phil Tigers as you play your final week of the regular season here?
All right, we're running another NBA schedule. Monday we'll be down at Colon. Then Tuesday we'll be over in Jackson playing Jackson Christian. And then for the first time since maybe last year, we have 2 practices in a row on Wednesday and Thursday. And then Friday we play Portland St. Patrick's on senior night.
So another 3-game week for the Tigers, and then depending on the district draw, you might come right back around and play it on Monday or next Wednesday, whatever. But it's a lot of basketball all in a short amount of time. And
pretty sure we won't be playing Monday.
Okay, that's good. I don't want to knock you down. I
don't want to jinx it, but
hopefully that's not get a bye for the district. So, but another 3-game week for St. Phil, and I guess you have experience. So I mean, that's
if we go back-to-back 3-0 weeks leading into districts, I'll love it.
All right. So we'll talk about St. Phil's another 3-win week next week when we get back together on Coach's Corner. Thanks for coming down, Coach.
Thanks, Bill.
We'll be back with our next Coach of the Morning after this break on WBCK 95.3 FM.
4. Coaches.
Lowe's has all the supplies you need to get your home spring ready, inside and out. Shop Ego, the #1 rated brand in cordless outdoor power. Plus, renew for the season with select cleaning essentials for under $10. Our best lineup is here at Lowe's. Lowe's, we help, you save. While supplies last, selection varies by location.
Visit your nearby Lowe's on East Arcas Avenue in Sunnyvale.
5.3 WBCK. Proudly brought to you by Lakeview Ford, where community matters. Here's Coach's Corner.
This is Bill Broderick back here on Coach's Corner. We're here with our next Coach of the Morning, Coach Steve Wickman of the Lakeview Spartans. Good morning, Coach.
Morning, Bill.
We have Lakeview playing a couple games against a couple hot teams this week. Portage Northern came in and they had won its 5 straight games coming into that game, and they came away with an 80-42 win to put together a 13-4 season. So that they're playing some good basketball. You ran into a hot team, and sometimes that's going to happen when you lose 80-42. Talk about how that game kind of went early.
Well, I mean, the score indicates how the game went. Quite honestly, I mean, it really did. We didn't start out well. I think it was 15-2 or something early, and from there it just kind of snowballed. And kind of for the first time this year, I was kind of disappointed with effort and just the caring about what was going on. And it that was kind of disappointing to see, but it is what it is, and I guess you live for the next game.
Well, you've been in this situation before in the last couple of years when you have a confident team yourself, when you've coached a confident team, and when a confident team takes the floor and they're rolling a little bit like that, you can feel that, and you probably saw that in Portage Northern a little bit.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that's exactly right. And they made a couple lineup changes from the first time we played them, and it seems like they were good choices. They got them, they're clicking, and they're playing a couple bigger kids that are shooters, and so yeah, the whole confidence thing is huge, and you're right. In the past 3 years or whatever, when you have that feeling for yourself, it's good, and when you're on the other side of it, it's tough, but I do, our kids are still trying hard, it's not like they're giving up, but when you come out flat and you're not playing well, and then you get down, and you're playing against a team, you have zero confidence and they have 100% confidence. That's a bad formula.
It is a tough one to deal with, and it's a tough one to turn around sometimes in the middle of a season when you have to kind of get some things going your right way and have the ball bounce your way. And you ran into another team on Madawan on Friday, and your struggles continue. That confidence level probably has had part of that, and the Madawan came away with a 70-48 win. And Nolan Porter, after he had 15 points in the game prior, he had 10 points in this one, and Gavin Deela had 10 points. And Lakeview is going in a little bit of the wrong direction at the wrong part of the time, but you guys still have some time to turn this around, and that has to be the message, right, going forward?
Yeah. Before we move on to that, Nolan's had a heck of a year. I mean, he's not scoring 20 a game, but he's scoring 10 or 12 a game, and he's been a very consistent scorer for us. And we're lucky that he came back to Battle Creek from Wisconsin over the summer, and we ended up having him here at Lakeview because he's not only been really good basketball, but he's a really good kid. He's fun to be around. So I'm glad that he fit in immediately. I'm glad he came, and as a junior, it's kind of exciting to think about him coming back next year. But the story on Friday was just the fact that the first quarter was dead even. Halfway through the second quarter was still pretty even, and we got in a couple turnovers and or missed shots that led to fast breaks, and you call timeout and try to talk about it, and it's the confidence thing again, and the ability to really to respond to the events that happen, right? So a team makes a 5-0 run or a 7-0 run, we've got to be able to respond to that. We've got to be able to respond to that positively, and try to get ourselves calmed down and back in control of us. And we're having a hard time with that right now. So until we figure out how to respond to things better, we're probably going to continue heading in the wrong direction. But hopefully, we can get into practice Monday. We got Coldwater coming in Tuesday. And start responding a little bit better to some of the things that are going on, and try to get ourselves going in the right direction as we head into districts.
Yeah, that's a big final week of the regular season for you, and it can be a fun week for the Lakeview Spartans because you're playing a couple teams that you have a little bit of connection to. It's been a fun rivalry the last couple of years with Coldwater. They're now in your district, so you see them in the regular season to kind of get ready for them, and you've had some nice games with them, and you're playing them on Tuesday, and then you're going to come back and you're going to play your rival Battle Creek Central on Friday. So regardless of how things are going in a season, it's an easy week to get up for if you're a high school basketball fan in this city, and And if you're a player, you know that if you're Lakeview, you want to get up for these kind of games, especially Valkyrie Central at the end of the week. And despite what's going on, that all can be put in the back window here because things can go well in this week and make things go in the right direction for the Spartans if they do.
Yeah, and I think our kids are still hungry for that. And I think that, we'll have senior night Tuesday. It'll be our last home game of the year. We have 5 seniors, so I'm sure that those 5 guys will want to play well, and hopefully they can get the underclassmen to understand how much it means to them. And, we can have an inspired team going out on the court on Tuesday and try to just put some things together and play for the seniors a little bit and just, get ready for what's going to be a huge game on Friday.
You have a Coldwater team that's going to come in. They're 8-9 right now. And have you taken a peek at them a little bit, or you gotten some help from your Interstate 8 conference buddies over here to find out what's got in front of them?
I don't know any other coaches in the Interstate 8. No, I'll dig into them this weekend and figure out what we think is a good game plan and how we want to play them. I have not looked at 1 second of them at this point. We've played 6 games in 2 weeks, so there's been no time to look ahead at all.
Yeah, it's been a grind. It's been a grind for several of our teams right now, playing a lot of games because of that harsh winter that we've had. And Lakeview's the same as a lot of other ones. They're playing a ton of games, and then Valkyrie Central, you're going to get them on Friday. They've been struggling a little bit also, so you get a couple teams that are going to need a win this week at some point, and it's going to be fun for the Spartans to get that chance, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
You roll the ball out and you get a chance.
Well, we'd say at the beginning of the year you only get 22 games or 23 guaranteed games, and each game has its own value, right? And as you get closer and closer to the end, the value seems to increase, especially for seniors. So we're hoping that, like I said earlier, that we're hoping that inspires some people and we can play well the last couple games before districts.
We'll look forward to talking about that next Saturday when we get back together. Coach's Corner, thanks a lot for coming down, Coach.
Thank you, Bill.
We'll be back with our next Coach of the Morning here on WBCK 95.3 FM after this.
Coach's Corner on WBCK, brought to you by Lakeview Ford, where community matters. Now back to the show.
This is Bill Broderick, sports editor of the Battle Creek Enquirer, back here on Coach's Corner. We're here with our next Coach of the Morning, Coach Crum of the Battle Creek Central Bearcats. Good morning, Coach.
Good morning, Bill.
We have Battle Creek Central playing a couple games this week, and started out with a Porter Central team on Tuesday, and Porter Central came away with a 66-50 win, and in that game, Battle Creek Central, after its hot start this year, slipped under 500 for the first time all year with a young team and slipped down to 8-9. But you ran into a really good Porter Central team that's 11-6 overall. And when you're playing some of these tough teams at the end of the season who are kind of on a roll, what kind of challenge was that when you played Porter Central on Tuesday?
Well, it was quite the challenge. I mean, they are physical ball club who plays really hard. They play well together, and with the size that they have once again and the size that we don't have, it was a real challenge for us inside on the boards. But they're a good ball club, and they were able to do more of what they hoped to do. And on our end, we didn't quite get the job done as far as consistently being able to put good minutes together during that game.
And you are running up against a couple of big teams in this later part of the schedule here, and your lack of size is really kind of showing at this point. And I know that can be probably frustrating when you run to these big teams. That you have some young, quick players that really were playing well early in the year, but they running up against a brick wall sometimes of this year when you run to this big size. That sometimes it's hard to deal with. Aaron Williams had a big game for you. Kind of jumped into the scoring column for one of the first times at this level all year. He had 19 points, and Tamani Spraggins had 13. So it was good to see someone else kind of come up with you and score some points for you. Is that what you saw there?
Yeah, well, as you said, Aaron He's the smallest guy that we have on our team, and but he plays really, really hard. And we've been happy with his effort throughout the season. But he finally found his shot in the game against Portage Central and knocked down some big buckets. Played really good on the defensive end. So that was good to see. We were real happy with how he played Tuesday night.
And then there's a big rivalry game last night. You played Kalamazoo Central, the Maroon Giants. They are undefeated in the SMAC. They're 16-2 overall. They're not only one of the better teams in the league, but they're one of the better teams in the state. They're going to face some challenges in the regional possibly when they might face an East Lansing or an Okemos team up there. But they are a tough team to handle, and they came out with an 85-46 win. They have a lot of size as well, and I think that probably told the tale for you guys running into that size and that athletic ability against a really good Kalamazoo Central team when you saw that result there.
Yeah, real good ball club, without a doubt. As you said, they're one of the best teams in the state. Got pretty much a coach's dream. They got size, they got speed and quickness, they got experience. I think they have about 8-9 seniors on their roster. So they're well put together and up to most any challenge. But it was a real challenge for us. Once again, our lack of size, our inexperience, even though, we've got 18, 19 games under our belt. We're still playing with a lot of inexperienced players when you talk about varsity experience. K Central was a bit much for us last night. I mean, I feel good that our guys didn't quit. They continued to play hard. But the experience of Kalamazoo Central just was overwhelming for us last night.
Yeah, like you mentioned, the Kalamazoo Central had 9 seniors on their team, and you have a sophomore in Lee Campbell leading you with 11 points, and then 2 freshmen, Braylon McCoy and Damani Spraggins, each adding 9. And those guys, and then you have some seasons and some situations might be playing JV ball, but they're playing varsity ball against one of the better teams in the state. And for them to still be playing hard and to produce against a really good team, that shows a lot for your guys' future, but it can create some growing pains. And that's kind of what you guys are going through a little bit right now after a real nice first half of the season, struggling down the stretch here. But what's your message to your guys to try to maybe turn this around and get things going in the right direction at the right time a year when you have to start playing your best ball next week when you get to the last week of the regular season?
Yeah, well, we're just working real hard to encourage the guys to hang in there. It's been a long season. You come from middle school where you might play 10, 12 games, I think, in your season to high school ball where you can play 22, 23. So the season's been long and testing for them, but we just try to take it one day at a time and keep our eyes set on trying to make progress each day, get better each day. And but we knew it was going to be a process, and it's just part of the process, being as young as we are this year.
You have one game on the regular season schedule, the original regular season schedule. That's Lakeview on Friday. You're going to play at home, and your final game of the year, your senior night, playing your rival Lakeview. I know you're trying to reschedule one of your makeups games for the middle of the week. What's the process with that, or do you just have the one Lakeview game this week?
Well, as of right now, Bill, it's just the Lakeview game on Friday. It does not appear at this time that we're going to be able to reschedule that game against St. Joe. They're trying, but as of right now, what my AD is telling me is that there's nothing that they've been able to agree on as of yet.
So you have Lakeview on Friday. That's going to be a lot of fun for everyone, and that's always a fun for City Hoop fans when Lakeview and Belle Crete Central plays, and no matter what the records, and that's going to be a Friday night showcase. Is that how you're seeing that right now, the senior night and everything that goes along with that?
Yeah, well, we know that Lakeview Battle Creek Central is a inner city rival, and we look forward to it. I'm sure they're looking forward to it. We're going to spend as much time and energy as we can to prepare ourselves as best we can, and look forward to that night. It should be fun.
All right, we'll look forward to that. Lakeview Central next Friday, and talk to our coaches following that on Coach's Corner next Saturday. Thanks a lot, Coach, for calling in.
Okay, thanks, Bill.
That's it for Coach's Corner for this week. We'll be back next Saturday for another edition of Coach's Corner on WBCK 95.3 FM.
Healthcare is so overwhelming. My doctors rushed through visits. I was billed for things that should be covered, and no one was really listening. I felt lost. That's why I called Solace. They paired me with a trained healthcare advocate who actually knew how to get things done. She helped me find the right doctor, coordinate transportation after surgery, and overturn a medical bill. She even joined my appointments to make sure I got real answers. And the best part, it's covered by Medicare, and they stay with you for as long as you need help. My Solace advocate is always just a phone call or text away.
96% of patients report better care with a Solace advocate. That means better health outcomes, less stress, and finally feeling heard. See if you qualify at solacehealth.com. That's SOLACE health.com. Or call 888-7-SOLACE. 8887-SOLACE. That's 8887-SOLACE.
Don't face the healthcare system alone. Find solace. Visit solacehealth.com today.